without any further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Arek Skuza, the founder and CEO of SafeUp and iTraf Technology.
It's my turn now. I'm always stressed when I'm talking to people because I'm only one child and I never had a brother or sister, and I always go to the vacation to the same place, to my grandparents. So before I was 20, I was more or less among the same people. So whenever I see new people, it's stressing me out. So, but I'll try to make myself feeling better here. So. This is my kid, he's 7 months old, and he started crawling today, so this is a special day for me. And it's also because I'm here, so thank you. I have no idea how you guys found me, but thank you for inviting me here. I never been successful, I never been on the first cover of Forbes, businessman, whatever, Newsweek. So I feel like special talking to you tonight, and I try to share my experience, but just thank you for having me here. Before I start, I'd like to play a song for you guys, and before we start playing that, whenever you feel, you just clap your hands, so we make some, I will be feel a little bit better now here. So can we start it now?
Yeah, I'll try.
I don't know if that works. Can you make it louder?
Yeah.
Can you clap your hands? I'll be clapping hands too.
When I wake up, I know I'm happy, the man who makes a When I go out, I know I'm happy, the man who goes along with you.
That's right.
I'm happy, the man who gets so close to you. And if I heave up, I know I'm happy,
Let's wait for 2 minutes.
favorite to do. I will walk 500 miles and I will walk 500 more the day.
I'm no good singer.
Walk 1,000 miles to fall down at
So I chose that thing. I'm listening that song when I'm trying to run a little bit, not to get fat, sitting in front of the computer. So if you really listen to that, there is the guy singing about entrepreneurship. He's singing about their girlfriend, but if you really listen, I think it can be kind of motivating. Okay, so I chose the topic after my experience with iTraf Technology, which is my third company I started. I give you a short glimpse of what I've been to and what I did and what I screwed up and what didn't work, and where I am now. And I was fired from Orange company, the big telecom guys, blue chips. I was fired from Comarch, which is right here in Krakow. So I was working for Comarch or Comarch, whatever it calls. I was working for them in Warsaw, but they sent me to Moscow to make deals, but it didn't work. I mean, they fired me. That's why I decided to start a company, just to try it, because I didn't have nothing to lose. So, and I was explaining to him before we started that worked for us. I mean, there was 3 of us. We were building a company. We sold that small part of it to the bigger company, and then that's how we made the first money for the vacation. And we went to California to. I need to just train. I'm stressing still. And that kind of worked. So, but the money was like $5,000. I mean, maybe $10. So it was enough for a ticket and going to California to talk to nice girls there, and that's it. And then I came back and I didn't know what to do, so my friend hired me, and then I went back to States because he had a project there, and we were working for a company called pennysaverusa.com. I was a project manager there. I finished the project. We didn't match budget, we didn't match timeline, but we made it. And then I accidentally started working for Facebook. And I was 8 months experience working for Google Analytics team, not big deal. I was doing like a lot of Excel and math. I was not so sexy as the Facebook logo is. And then I started doing stuff like that and come back to Poland, and I started doing a first company with my friends called totudam.pl. Part of it was acquired by MTV. And then I quit that and I started my own company. And this is iTrof Technology with the product called SaveUp, but we will be launching a new product soon. And here is the news for you. My marketing manager asked me to do it, and so I'm doing this for him. So this is a empty glass. I put that 3 pink things inside so you know it's this one. So if you are mobile developers or you have a mobile developers in your team, if you put a business cards here, you can hook up to our API for free, and they planning to make like a competition for developers. There will be $10,000 prize. They're thinking about giving 50 iPads to people or 50 iPhones, whatever. So if you're a mobile developer and you want to be part of this shit they're doing, so you can put your business card here. And we will come back to you. So this is with this 3 pink things, so make sure you put it here, not to his glass right there. Okay, so I chose the topic, there is a big chance of no keyboard, because that's the philosophy stands behind iTrof Technology, and that's what I believe in. Hopefully it will work. If you think about products that are on the market right now, like Shazam, who doesn't know Shazam? Everybody knows Shazam. So when you take out your phone and you can just scan whatever you hear, they will recognize the music and you can buy the music straight from the phone. If you go to, they have it in Polish stores like, not Walmart, but MediaMarkt or stuff like that. They have a phone, the TV sets from Samsung. You don't have to use remote control. You can just wave to the phone, to the TV, and the girl will be naked. I mean, they will switch channels. So whatever you do, you don't have to have the remote controller. You can do it with your hand. Everybody knows that kind of lady. Doesn't really work in Poland, but Tim Cook said that it will amaze you what this software will be able to do in the next couple months. So you can talk to your iPhone. So if you're driving your car and there's an iPhone stick to your glass, like, or whatever in the car, you can say, hey, make an appointment for me, and she start asking questions. So you can make an appointment, make an appointment in your calendar without typing in your phone. And here comes SaveUp and our technology that you don't have to type. If you see something and you want to buy it, we want you to take a picture and that's it. So what is Shazam for music? Our product will be for pictures. So you see his t-shirt, you take a picture, you buy it. You see a book on a billboard, you're standing on a bus station and there is a big advert of the new, it can be new, like a new, I don't know, Rolex. You can take a picture and check the price of the Rolex, and if you rich enough, you can buy it. So there is a big chance that there will be no keyboard in the future, which means that companies like Google, Apple, big players and tiny players like we are, everybody develops something for not typing, which means that you're talking to things, you're waving to things, you're just taking pictures, but you start losing attention to keyboard, which means that you are not going to use keyboard. And now when you go to google.com, you can hit that small button which says voice search, and you can talk to your computer, and the computer will search stuff for you, so you don't have to really type. And I believe I'm too small to produce that trend, but I believe that everybody is going to the direction when the keyboard will be useless. You'll be able to talk to the car, and the car will install audiobooks for you, and the Renault is already doing that in France. Then you will be able to talk to your vending machine, and the vending machine will just pop up the Coke for you and stuff like that. So typing, the cost of typing is time, which you have to write something down, and then you can change your mind, and we live in a speed generation, so everybody's going to skip to find the technology, you guys not to type. So speaking about us is what I've learned from my entrepreneurship thing, and this is not something to copy, because 90% of what I learned happened by accident. I didn't plan it. So that's where the iTrof technology started. That's where we were sitting down there, and probably somebody just put a chewing gum under the bench, and that's where we are thinking about building something. Like me and my co-founders, like it matters. Like we said, well, let's take a picture of these two trees behind us, and let's build something that recognizes one tree and say, hey, this is the tree on the right, and this is the tree on the left. And that was our business plan. And what I'm trying to say is, my investors probably don't really like it. It's like, but the plan is like a crop. It's like, planning is important, but plan nowadays it's something that I think it's like a plaster when you cut your finger off with the knife. So you put a plaster on it to make it better, but it doesn't really change the problem. The problem is that it's so hard to make a business plan. It's what I'm going to do. At the end, everybody is going to compete with Google and Apple. It's like, that's obvious. So whatever you make in the plan, then you finish like, oh man, Google is going to do it anyway, so forget about it. So saying be full enough to start means that just to start. It's nothing like sophisticated. I am not better than anybody else that I started a company. I'm just a regular man doing like what I love, and everybody can be full enough to start it in that kind of environment. And that was the company for 2 minutes. That's where we decided 2 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever, it was short time. Power of knowledge, I don't know if that word exists in English, but we were full enough and we didn't have so much knowledge that we just started. And all the demons came afterwards when we started. Could we avoid the demons? No, we could not. Plan could not take us there somewhere where there are no like problems or obstacles or stuff like that. Like, I think not knowing things, it's something really important. Because if you know things, that can scare you off. Like, you'll be like pissing you off that I don't know if I make it, and then you meet a whole bunch of people, they tell you, oh, you will not make it, like Apple will do it before you. So that's the end of your entrepreneurship in your heart. So I think that was a perfect moment to start something. It was a good decision. Yes, it was, because building this company is something incredibly hard, but I was kicked out of the big companies, so that was hard, because I could not find my place there. I found my place here, which means it was a good decision. If I'll be on the cover of Forbes, or I'll be on the billboard, and somebody will write a book about me, I have no idea. I can finish in like, you know, like these guys, they were like famous, but they died before. So I don't know if I'll be there, but I don't really care about it because I feel happy what I'm doing right now. Being here with you guys, I didn't have to ask anybody to come here. I just decided to go, and it was like a big pleasure for me to come here. So I think that what I'm trying to say is that if you think about starting a company, just start it. Just don't really think about all this crappy shit people telling to you that, did you think about this? Did you think about that? And then when you think about all this thing, they ask you again, oh, did you think about this afterward? And there's like so much thinking, but no moving. So that's my co-founders, and that's one rule is that they know how to code. I have no idea how to code, and this is a perfect match, at least for us. So the proportion is perfect here. 3 of them and 1 of like myself. So you know who is important on that picture, not myself. Like they are, because they building company, the company, the code, the technology, something that works, that doesn't work, and stuff like that. So if you can just make the uploads for them, like for me, so that's what So I love this man. He said that it doesn't matter how the man starts, it matters how he ends. Something like that. So for sure we started. How we end, I have no idea. We were broke. We didn't have money for like 2 months, and like our monthly spendings like thousands of Polish money. So it's like that was kind of fun. If we'll be successful, I have no idea. Whenever you look at the Facebook, Google, Instagram, what else? Tagged.com and stuff like that, you think when you're looking from the outside point of view, you think there's so great business inside. I bet if you go inside, there's like a whole bunch of people, they don't really know where they're going. It's like there's so much information outside that you are always lost. You're just always lost. And if you really can count on something, it's like flowing in life, which I'll tell you about more. What I learned, and I could share with you, that's something I have deep in my heart, and it's kind of subjective thing, is that the good traveler has no fixed plans and it's not intent in arriving. It sounds stupid because it looks like we don't have any goal when we're heading to or stuff like that. So, but what matters is traveling. It's moving, it's going, and nothing else matters in like building a company, if it's iTraf or Google, whatever. Budgeting, goals making, and stuff like that, we need that to make sure we don't go for picking up girls or drinking beer or spending investors' money on drugs, stuff like that, which we don't do. And that's something like help us to navigate. Well, don't go to bar, drink beer, we have something to code because we have to get there. But if we get there, no idea. So yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Listen to flow by accident. So this is something I've learned recently, and this is the story I'm going to tell you now. That I'm a husband and I'm a father of one, which you already met. And there's so bunch of things going on in life that task closing in your project management system is such a pain in the ass, because whenever you close 100 tasks, there are 100 on the horizon to close. So you don't really know whatever you will be done. So I met a guy in San Francisco it was 3 weeks ago, and he told me about prioritizing in life and getting with flow. So I think I found planning like a way of setting up in my head what is important to me, to myself. And it's kind of like, let's say, well, there's a company and there's this guy. So sometimes that's something important for him doesn't have to be important for the company, and vice versa. And that's true. That's why you have teams, because sometimes something is important for the team, but I don't really give a shit if they just do it or not. It's like, whatever. If it happened, it happened. So I learned that flow in your life brings you a lot of different and great things, and the flow is like things happening by accident, like firing me from these blue companies, blue chips, big companies, or like Commerce. I have a lot of it. I would love to build a company like Commerce. It's like, wow, imagine that startup be like 3,000 people all over the world. I could have 2 private jets. So they fired me, and that's the flow. Accepting that and moving forward is something I really, really enjoy in building a company. And you know what? Like having that attitude in yourself, there is maybe a death or somebody like is close to you, but nothing else is going to bother you. Like your investors say, hey, I'm not going to give you more money because you are like stupid guy, lazy, whatever. I said, okay, I'm getting your feedback and that's the flow. I accept it, I'm moving on. And that's what is interesting in building businesses. And I think I'm growing with that thought in my head. that I would like to build more and more companies, it's extremely difficult to be successful nowadays. Like, there's like a whole bunch of people right there sitting here. These guys are like incredibly smart, incredibly hardworking. So why they don't have, like, they can be successful, I can be like a big loser there. So, but building and getting with the flow is the most fascinating thing I experience. And I can just share that with you, like the passion for like building companies. So, and that's the examples here. This orange, I couldn't find the logo right there, so I put it, whatever, that's the same stuff. We had the internet from them, like this now Strada thing, and that's all crap. So anyway, so it doesn't matter. So imagine this guy, they have a problem, change the brand. Have you ever read that stuff? No. Okay, so sitting on that bench, we decided to build SaveUp. No feedback, no plan, no lean strategy, Eric, Chris, lean startup, whatever. We didn't have any idea if that shit exists somewhere. So we just started building that. But then we read that post in the internet that one of the guys from Mint, and there's like somebody here now. Oh, I know Arek is there, so he knows them. He knows Mint.com. He's a big guy there. So they said that at the beginning they were investing every minute in public relations, like writing everything what they were doing just to get the attention of people. So we decided to do the same thing. So we launched the app, which was about photo recognition, but there was no photo recognition inside. So there was something like a barcode scanner, which is really old school technology, nobody cares. And one of our founders, the one get applause for you guys, he built that thing, but it didn't work. So it didn't work for that. And we sent the press release to press companies in Poland. Never ever expected that stuff to be picked up by Agora, like Gazeta.pl, and we landed on the main page of Gazeta.pl. And then when you go to the internet and you look for that, there is this article about the new application, which actually doesn't work. But we get a lot of attention, And looking from that perspective there, I would say that I was always crazy about selling invisible. Like, let's say, I just invented what I could invent, like a new cream for like for ladies. And I was always crazy to sell that cream in people's minds, of course, before it even exists. So to see if people buy it from me, if they give money for that, and if they really want to use it. So we decided to go with that. And everybody loved that before we did this. When we did this, and if you scroll down, which I didn't put it here on purpose, there's a whole bunch of negative comments right there. And after that, before, everybody loved that. But afterward, like, our investors keep calling me and say, what you guys did? I said, well, we did that stuff you loved before. So why are you not just hating that now? I mean, we just did it. So, but that was perfect. I mean, we're supposed to be a price comparison app, but people in these comments, they told us that we shouldn't go that direction. So my second thing is, don't be afraid of showing your crap, which doesn't work, to people. Just don't be afraid. So at least you can pay them $10,000 afterwards. So that happened by accident. This guy happened by accident too. This is our first investor, Bartek, and if you guys can have an applause for this guy, because he did a great thing for us. So, thank you. I show up in his office with idea of building SaveUp. So what we did before, we invested our private money, me and my co-founders, in hiring a programmer, honestly saying it was a student who need to have this summer internship in a company. So we hired him, but we paid him well, like for this internship. We want him to work on a particular thing. We just want him to make a whole bunch of research around the world if there is somebody working on the photo recognition technology. And he found an article about a guy in Germany, in Munich, and a university there. He was working on kind of pyramid matching, whatever stuff. I can't even tell what it was. And then he read that article, and he found the mistake inside. So that was a small mistake, but our programmer found it. So I'm the salesman. I said, well, let's use it. So we sent the email to that guy that we found the mistake there, and we are not very sure if that's the mistake. So if we can just go on a Skype and discuss it. Of course, I could not discuss it because I had no idea. I'm too stupid to understand what is that in the article. But this, our programmer, he knew. So we talked to this guy. He was a very nice guy, very polite gentleman. And he explained, yeah, that's a small mistake, but I am so happy you guys found it, and I would like to help you guys. And we said, well, we don't need money, so he's a researcher, so they don't really make a lot of money there. But he told us about the guy in Canada, in Toronto, who's working on the same stuff, but he already programmed some kind of code. So I said, well, maybe we could buy that code from him, and we have something to show to investors. And we wrote the email. This guy in Toronto, he turned to be 90 or 80 something. So I said, well, if he's already rich, he's rich. If he's not, he never will be, because it's, But we said, okay, we would just work with you, and we would like to pay you for help. We just don't want to for free, because we were going to involve him in building a prototype of Sable. And he said, guys, I get my stuff patented. It's patented in Canada, so you are in Europe, in Poland, it's part of Russia. It's somewhere there, so take it. Just take it and use it, and whenever you put it somewhere, just put my name in there. We said, okay. We signed a short contract, but then after a month, the programmer say, well, it's great stuff, but for desktops, stuff like that. So you start a camera, you're just pointing stuff there, and it can tell you what is it, but it's not really working for mobile. And we said, okay, so we went for that code, we use it, we bought a nice bottle of vodka to that guy, we sent it to Toronto, and we say, hey, thank you for that, we really use it, we really like it, and this guy had a lot, and that happened by accident. So what I'm trying to say here that the most valuable thing in people's life, from my perspective, is searching, is constantly searching. But I guess Jesus said that before me, so whatever. So I started to search for investors who will be happy to invest in our prototype. We had a prototype working on desktops. Wherever we go to the investors, we took 3 laptops, 2 webcams, and 3 books. So investors, they're busy, they don't have time. So before we set up all the thing, we hook up all the computer to Wi-Fi and just start showing that stuff. It takes a while. But they remember that afterwards. And then I went to it should be Aula Polska, that I said Polish, Aula Polska in Warsaw. And this guy had a speech there. And he said something what really pissed me off, that we are not able to build the another Google in Poland, like Skype, Google, that kind of big companies. And I said, hey, why not? I said, why not? And I just screamed that. And he said, well, because I think that there are not enough investors, not enough money, they don't really ready to wait for 5 or 6 years to get profit and stuff like that. So we started discussing. It was not arguing, it was just discussing. And afterwards I came down to him and say, thank you for a nice conversation, and we exchanged I guess business cards, but with emails, whatever. And I dropped him an email amount afterwards, and he invited us for a meeting. So of course, many things around happened. We won competition in Szczecin, north part of Poland, with kind of investors there. We really didn't like them, so we have kind of choice, but don't think we were okay, now we're waiting for investors. No, that was not like that. So he said to me after a second meeting, first one was in his office, second one was in a hotel in a lobby, and he said, well, you know what? I'm going to invest in your company. I said, oh really? And he said, yeah. And then I was working that times for the company called Totudam.pl. I told you, like, I was the CEO there. I had like small part of shares, not really big ones. I said, okay, can you guarantee that? He said, what do you mean? I said, well, let's like just guarantee it in some way that I can quit my job and stuff like that. And he said, well, before the investment committee happened, I cannot guarantee anything. And the committee was about to be about a month. So I was supposed to wait a month. So I decided to quit my job and said, well, I'm going to build that stuff anyway. So maybe with this guy, maybe not. So, and the story goes. So I met him by accident, by searching. No plan, nothing like that, just searching for help, for money, for a prototype. We found this guy in Toronto. Just keep searching. That's something I really tell myself when I'm really down. And there's a lot of moments I'm really down and I don't really like what's going on around. That happened by accident too. And I don't know if you guys familiar that we won that startupfest.pl competition in Poland. And that's the place when our new product was born in my mind. So, but that's another story. So we made that by accident. What was the accident? I was sitting in I don't have a desk in my office. I mean, I love Richard Branson, the guy behind Virgin. He is managing like 300 companies and his office in his house. And I love it so much, that kind of model that the CEO is not sitting in a company and telling people what to do. Just, it helps to grow the great teams. That's what I believe. So I was sitting in my office, in my apartment in Warsaw. And then I said, oh, I saw an email in my inbox, and that was like, hey, you guys are a nice company, maybe you should apply to that startupsfest.pl. I said, okay, I clicked that link, and it was like this form. So I just really, honestly saying, I just fill up that form in 5 minutes. In just really 5 minutes, just writing whatever I was thinking about, what is our company. We were qualified, we went through mentorship sessions, we met our current investors there, and we won. And that happened by accident too. And that happened by accident too. I was able to drive that boat, but I really don't know how to do it. And with that big engine, because by accident, I met a guy at the lakeshore, and I went with my wife there. It's in Texas, in the States. You know, when they have like, you know, hot there and there's nothing there, like girls are not pretty there, and they like potatoes. So, no, Texas is like cowboy states. Like if you go to San Francisco and New York, you see that pretty girls, like everybody's going to fitness stuff, and you know, in Texas, like people don't, they go fishing. But I love it. I think like my grandparents live in the farm, so that probably stays with me. So we went with my wife there, and we were living somewhere there in the small, like a house there, like really small. And the lake is so huge that you cannot really enjoy it because the alligators live there, so you cannot swim there. I mean, people swim there, but they're from Texas, so. I shouldn't be so hard to them. And we went to the lake shore, like there was a lake here, and I said, well, let's have a cup of coffee and let's go somewhere. Like it's boring here, nobody here. So we can't swim, you can't really, you know, there's no sand, no beach, nothing like that. This like lake and 45 degrees, like hot, and you cannot go into the water, so whatever. But then I just turned on, and there was like this guy, and he's like, oh, I can show you. No, it's on my computer. Okay, so I can tell you later. So he was like 74. His name is Van, and he started talking to us. And I said, oh my God, I mean, like, let's go. I mean, let's don't I said to my, well, let's don't talk to him. I mean, let's go somewhere. I was bored, and I didn't really accept what's going on. And he was just start talking to us about what is the tax is about, how the fish is in here, and all the boring stuff, and it makes me even more boring. I'm like, boring. So I went right there for like coffee and something to eat. My wife kept talking to this guy. And then I came back, and he said, and my wife said, okay, so we scheduled for tomorrow. I said, so we staying? And she said, yeah. So, you know, when you're married, like, there's no more, like, control. So your company is when you really have the impact, but outside, not really. I mean, it's like Winston Churchill said that, right? That we think we ruin the world, but that's the women really do it. So okay, so next day, he came with his truck and with his boat. And we sit on the boat, and we were going around the lake. It was so cool. I mean, there was like alligators sitting there, like fishermen, like, it was great. It was really great. He turned to be a president of the big motorbikes association in the United States. The best leadership lessons ever I gave was from this 74 years old man. He explaining me a lot of stuff about managing people, motivating people, and my fears that the big building companies like putting a small stone. That's his favorite thing, is that if you go on the mountain and you take that small stone and you just hit it down, it will be an avalanche downstairs. It will be like a whole bunch of frogs going there, but it takes time. And it takes time, and it takes a lot of effort to that small rock to roll and take the bigger rocks and bigger rocks. You can also call it like snowball effect, right? So he gave me the best lesson ever about leadership. That happened by accident. So what I've learned, the success of startup of my thing is not right there. It's not like somewhere in the future when I will have millions. And one of our investors is Rafał Han, and his friends are here. And he's that kind of guy too, that you don't expect things right there. You have them now. Being with you guys is like a chance to whatever I can plan. So I always tell to myself, it's not like 75 rules of doing business thing to you. I'm not trying to say to you, listen to life. I said to myself, just listen to what's going on around. They might be investors sitting here, not in Silicon Valley. They might be right here. They might be watching you online. It can be going right there, right now. Right now, I can just do whatever I want to do and just think about that and enjoy it. So focus on what you love. Building a company is a marathon. It's not like sprint. When I started iTrav 2 years ago, I thought, well, let's sell that company after a year, and I'll be rich. I want to be rich. I just don't want to build up. It's boring. Now it's 2 years, and I need to have energy for 2 more, maybe, or 3 more, or maybe a big collapse. I don't know. So focus on what you love. And I love being here. I love talking to you guys. Even when I was like stressed at the beginning, it's like, I know it's going to be like pitching here, so don't really just stress. I'm not going to say that word because my mom is on Facebook, and whenever I upload my presentations, she said she doesn't understand English, but she does understand that words. She said, did you say that again to people there? I said, so I'm not going to say that for my mom. But don't let other people, I think Steve Jobs said that. He said that, and I'm just repeating. So don't tell other people to tell you to do things you hate. You know, it's not always obvious, but try to do as much as you can about loving things. And don't ever be afraid of starting up company, starting up family, having 5 kids, traveling somewhere. Don't be ever afraid. And we have that saying in Poland that the fear has a big eyes. Lesson learned from, I don't have a time, right?
Go ahead.
Okay. So whenever you say stop, I stop. That's the lesson learned, and I'm not trying to bore you guys with that. It's on the presentation. So that's what I screw up. And first, save up, on Polish market sucks. I mean, we do have success, but comparing to state, it sucks. Polish smartphone market is slow. It's low. It's growing up. So whenever you go and launch the next app, just please consider that. Team must be full-time. I hired a whole bunch of part-time guys, and they are great at the beginning, but afterwards, they just so hard to manage. I mean, you call this guy, hey, can you help me? And he said, well, I'm reading a book now because I have something like for my professor tomorrow. I would expect that, but team must be full-time and smaller. That's, I think. Too many projects installed kill the outside. The problem is not how many, but which one, and that's pretty obvious. Open a company at South Poland. Don't open companies in Poland, I would say. I mean, it's not because it's a bad country. You know why? Because when you go to Estonia or somewhere there, they're so small, they know from the beginning that they cannot operate here because it's so small. We are a medium-sized country, so we are not big enough and not small. Like, we're in the middle. And whenever you start here, it's so hard to get there. So if you can go somewhere, take your girlfriend or a boyfriend, and just go to somewhere and open a company in a big country, operate on a big market, that's what I would recommend. That's what I'm struggling with right now. So I'm flying on to States on Sunday for next couple weeks just to switch my mind there. So, and this is the favorite one. Technology always sucks. Something always doesn't work, accept, move, sell. So there is no code from Oracle, from Microsoft, from Google that always works. So there's a whole bunch of crap in Android that doesn't work. But they're selling it, they're convincing people to use it, they're improving it. So don't really polish your code under the roof. Show it to people. Show it to people. That's that they give you feedback. Okay, the last one doesn't really care. Okay, the first one I'll tell. Avoid mentors who didn't start. Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, it's like taking a lesson about mountain climbing from a guy who read the book about it. So, well, I have a whole bunch of problems with mentors, and I mean, especially with that ones they didn't start a company. Is there any investor here? No. Okay. Yes, and this is something I struggle so much. Writing emails made me so much troubles, killed so many relationships, that if you really want to, pick up a topic, just keep calling people. Just keep calling. There is even like this research somewhere in China or Thailand or Canada, somewhere there, that says that people who have problems with writing, so they don't write because they make a lot of mistakes there, and they resume, it looks like crap when they send it. So they keep calling, and they're more successful. And so this is because calling and talking makes people remember about you, and getting phone number, it's harder. So I'm switching myself here. Yeah, investors' goals and founders not always are the same, and it's like a pain in the ass. But my wife goals are so different than mine sometimes. But we get married, so you can really get married with investors, but don't then whatever. Okay, it's recorded, so. Okay, and the last thing is, my favorite entrepreneur is Christopher Columbus. It's for 3 reasons, which I mentioned on my blog. First one, he convinced king to give him a money, investor. He was searching for something he didn't really find, pivoting, but he made everybody rich. So investors get their money back. My friend told me that he was also put in a prison by a king, but I don't want to reason that. So I just played that movie for you here, and can you start? That's the last thing. I found it on YouTube. I mean, the voice is really like dumb, but that's the only one about Christopher Columbus.
Hey everyone, good morning. It's Columbus Day. You know, as I was getting ready today, I began thinking about Mr. Columbus and what kind of guy he might have likely been. You know, there's no doubt he was an explorer, but think about it. Christopher was like way more than just an explorer. He was an entrepreneur. Think about it. He not only dreamed the dream, he sold the dream to a queen and then set out on a journey with no idea of where it would end. Of course, after checking out the facts, I learned that Mr. Columbus talked to a whole lot of people before the queen said yes. Not everyone believed the story that Christopher presented, and I'm sure there were a few naysayers in the bunch who just didn't believe the world was round. It reminds me a bit of network marketing. Not everyone believes in the dream, and even less will pursue it. In fact, most are more than willing to remind you that your course of action could cause you to fall off the face of the earth. Sound familiar? But the lesson is this. Like Christopher Columbus, your dream is yours, and you are looking for your queen to champion your journey. If you stop at the first no, then the journey will never happen. If you don't stop at the first no and stay the course, then there is very possibly a new world waiting for you at the end of the journey. Think about it and explore the possibilities.
Thank you very much for listening to my subject.